Today we're going to tour one of the most popular neighborhoods for families to purchase homes in around Atlanta, Marietta, Georgia. And that's coming up right now. All right, so where in the world is Marietta, Georgia? Well, as you can see, we have it pulled up on the map. Marietta is right here, and obviously one of the major draws of living in this area is going to be the relatively easy commute into the city of Atlanta. You can see it's about 20 miles to downtown Atlanta. So if you're commuting there, or if you just want to visit for a date night, you really have the city at your fingertips. In terms of amenities nearby, there's plenty as well. We're going to check out Marietta Square. You can see you have Six Flags not too far to the south, the Battery where the Atlanta Braves play and where there's lots of fun things to do is close by in Smyrna. That'll be extremely accessible to you. And you're on the north side of town, so I always like to point out that you're going to have a head start on all the wonderful nature-related activities that North Georgia has to offer. I also typically like to point out that the airport is in College Park. Depending on where you are, you know, that could be 40 minutes to an hour and 15 minutes. Depending on traffic, it is going to be a little further, but not too crazy. So that is where Marietta is. And just for reference, I think it's good to point out this is Cobb County, which we'll be talking about today as well. Some areas better than others. You can see Marietta is right in the center. Cobb County is typically divided up into east, west, and south. And I will point out, this is East Cobb. The reason I'm pointing that out is just because it is so extremely desirable for the quality of schools. Many folks that I work with only want to look in this area. So if you are one of those families who's really looking to be in some of the top schools in Georgia, you're definitely going to want to center your search in East Cobb. So that is where we're talking about today. So what does it cost to live in Marietta, Georgia? Well, the median sales price right now is $450,000. The median rent is $2,179. Now, looking at the MLS right now, the cheapest active option I could find for living in Marietta was in the high 200s, and that was an attached option. The cheapest rent I could find in the area was $1,200, and that was a one-bed, one-bath townhome. So if you're looking in the Marietta area, and let's assume you want a detached option with at least 3 beds, 2 baths, I would say you're going to want a starting budget at least in the high $300,000 range. Anything lower than that is probably going to be a bigger project than you want to take on. Of course, if you're open to attached options, you're going to have way more options available. Once you start to get into the mid 400s, it'll be more move-in ready, although the finishes will still be dated, probably up into the low 500s. As you get into the high 500s and 600s, mid 500s, you can certainly see some new construction options, which is really nice. And then in the resale homes, you will see higher end finishes and more remodeled homes. So in terms of cost of living housing wise for Marietta, that's what you're going to be looking at. Let's take a tour that I did of a house that's on the market right now in Marietta so that you can get a real world example of how far your dollar goes in this area. All right, so right now I'm touring a home that's actually on the market right now in Marietta. This home is listed for $535,000, and it's pretty indicative of what you can expect to find in this market currently. Remember, inventory is really low. So unfortunately, there's not incredible examples of value, although some of you, if you're coming from California, might think this is pretty good value. But this home has 5 beds, 3.5 baths, and is over 3,000 square feet. So great footprint, but you'll notice as we take footage throughout the house, not modern, updated finishes, probably finishes that were original to when the home was built. So this home is certainly move-in ready and would be great for a large family. The backyard is incredible. I actually really like the layout. It's spacious, it's got high ceilings, so it has a lot of potential for someone looking to make it their own. But at this price point, $535,000, you can expect a large home, big enough for the whole family. It may not have those high-end finishes completely remodeled like you would find at a higher price point. So just wanted to give you some context of what is on the market right now in Marietta. So now you have a feel for the cost of living. Let's talk about the quality of schools, because that's very important for a lot of clients that I help purchase homes in this area. Now, unfortunately, the actual city of Marietta typically has slightly lower rated schools than some of the surrounding areas. Just to break this down for you a little bit, as I mentioned in the map video, East Cobb is known in the metro Atlanta area as being very desirable for the quality of the public schools. So in particular, Walton, Pope, and Lassiter, some of the top schools in the entire state. That's in East Cobb. The second best area for schools in Cobb is going to be between East Cobb and Marietta. That would be the Wheeler and Sprayberry districts. As you move into West Cobb, you're still going to typically have decently rated schools, but not quite so much as the areas I just mentioned. And unfortunately, as you travel into South Cobb, the school quality goes down quite a bit. Now, in the city of Marietta itself, if you look on all the aggregator websites, like I always say, you're going to get a lot of varying information. Typically, what I see are ratings from 5 to 7 for elementary through high school. I don't personally have any kids. I've talked to parents that have kids in the Marietta school district. They seem to be pleased with it. If you drive around these schools, they look like nice facilities. These are fairly well-funded schools. So from my perspective, I think children can get perfectly good education in the city of Marietta. Although you should be aware when you're looking in this area, you really want to pay attention. Are you in the city of Marietta? Or are you not? It's going to be a big difference, and you really want a good feel for what assigned schools are going to be, because obviously that's going to have a big impact on your children. All right, let's talk about diversity, because I know that's extremely important for a lot of clients I interface with. So I've got datausa.io pulled up. This is a pretty useful website for a lot of information about neighborhoods you can be looking at. It's got everything from diversity to economy to who the elected officials are in that area. So according to this website, Marietta right now is 46% white, 31% black, 2% Asian, and around 14% Hispanic. So there's your diversity statistics. Let's look at a little bit of other data. Let's look at the major industries in the area so you can know what type of jobs you can expect to look for. So the largest employment industry here currently is retail trade. Other large industries include healthcare and social assistance, educational services, professional, scientific, and technical services, admin, support, and waste management services, construction, and manufacturing. And there's many others as well. All right, so let's talk about things to do. If you're living in Marietta, are you going to be bored out of your mind, or are you going to have a lot of opportunities to have a good time? Well, as I discussed on the map, you're going to have plenty of amenities within close proximity. You've got Six Flags close by. You've got the Battery where the Atlanta Braves play close by. The city itself is close by, so you can go out to a date night in Atlanta, come back without getting home at midnight. So really you have the whole city at your fingertips. If you want to go to Avalon and Alpharetta, that might be a 20-minute drive. And like I've said, you got a head start on the North Georgia mountains. There's a lot of fun things to do out there. But to give you a better feel of what there is to do in the city of Marietta, let's go over to Marietta Square, downtown Marietta, where I took some footage of what it's like. It was a beautiful day. I grabbed lunch there. Really a nice downtown area, good quality restaurants, good atmosphere, and good vibes. So let's go take a look at Marietta Square. So there are plenty of great amenities when you live in Marietta. Right now, I'm in Marietta Square, and I'm surrounded by restaurants, a theater, tons of retail shopping, businesses. It's vibrant. There's people walking around, really friendly people. I've had a bunch of people say hi in my visit today. So this is a really nice amenity to have if you live in the city of Marietta. Of course, close by, you've got the Battery in Smyrna. If you want to catch a Braves game or go to a good restaurant, it's a great place for a night out. Not too far away, on the west side of Atlanta, you've got Six Flags, which would be pretty accessible to you if you live in this area. And of course, like I keep saying, easy commute into the city. If you want to enjoy Buckhead or Midtown or whatever you want, that's not going to be a tough drive for you. So really plenty of amenities. I mean, you can go over to Avalon at Alpharetta. You're not going to run out of things to do either for retail or shopping or nature-related activities, as is the case in most areas in Georgia. So plenty of things to do here, very family-oriented, safe area. It's really pleasant on a beautiful day like it is today, not too hot. I would definitely take advantage of having a nice downtown area, because not every suburb of Atlanta, I know this is a city, not every area that you can live around Atlanta has its own downtown areas. That's one of definitely the benefits. And in terms of downtown areas, Marietta's pretty high when compared to some others. All right, so as you can see, you're gonna have a lot of things to do in Marietta. But what about the vibe? What is the vibe like in this area? Well, It's a city in itself, but what I would say is it's a suburb close to a major city. So in most areas in Marietta, I think you're going to have a typical suburban feel, but obviously being close to Atlanta is going to have a lot of implications. You're going to have probably higher quality restaurants than you would if you were further out in a more rural area. There's relatively decent diversity, although not nearly as diverse as on the Gwinnett County side, but I don't think it's an area where too many people would have to worry about not feeling accepted based on any quality that they have as a human being. And of course, because the quality of the public schools is typically better than surrounding areas, there's definitely plenty of families all around. So I would say a great place to raise your kids, raise your family. So typical suburban, close to city vibes. You know, one of the big reasons I help so many clients purchase in these areas is going to be the value. Okay, if we just looked to Alpharetta, which is directly north of the city, your price point's going to be $400,000 more than it would be in this area, depending on the size and finishes that you need. So because directly north of Atlanta is pricing out a lot of people, I do typically help a lot of folks who need all the things that I've been mentioning to you, either on the Marietta side in the Cobb County area or on the Lawrenceville side in the Gwinnett County area. So those are kind of two bastions of relative affordability and value that families are looking for. And so it's probably one of the biggest drivers of why these areas are growing so quickly. All right, so there you have it, living in Marietta, Georgia. As you can see, this is a very popular area for a reason. There's still good value here in home purchasing or renting, great commute to the city, and plenty to do in the city of Marietta itself, as well as just a great place to raise a family. Or even if you don't have a family, if you're single or you're just a couple, this is a really good option, and it's going to continue to grow. The value here is going to go up and up, so it's a great place to own real estate. So I really hope that helped you get a sense for what it's like to live in this area and help you make some decisions. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know what you want to see next, and until my next video, I'll see you next time.